Hey, Scott Lara, the cruisegenius.com. Hello from Jacksonville, Florida. It's around 9:59 a.m. here on Wednesday, October the 9th, and we're getting ready for Hurricane Milton to come across the state of Florida. And I want to talk about, regarding cruises. When you cruise during hurricane season, this is what can happen. You have a hurricane coming in. You have ports that are closed, which means you can't get back, from your cruise to like Port Canaveral or to Miami or to Jacksonville because the ports are closed. And number one, you're probably going to be in some bumpy seas off the coast, which is no fun. Believe me, I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I've been in 40-foot seas. I've been in 50 to 60 mile an hour winds. You are bouncing around. You're not in the casino. You're not up on deck. You're in your room bouncing around. So, my heart goes out to those folks who are on cruise ships who are stuck at sea, and everybody says, well, they get to stay at sea. Well, what about your airline, flying back to Chicago? Or what about getting back to work? Or what about your pets? Or whatever, you're concerned about. And that's why I always recommend, especially during hurricane season, to buy travel insurance. And as I've said before, you got to read the fine print, and you got to make sure that hurricanes and port closures and those kind of acts of God are covered. So let's say you're on the Carnival Elation right now. You can't get back into Jacksonville. You're supposed to fly back to Chicago whenever, and you can't get back. Will you get reimbursed for a hotel? Will you get reimbursed for maybe having to park your car a couple extra days? Will you get reimbursed for the airline and hotels and all these incidental expenses you're going to have to incur at no fault of your own? You in good faith booked a cruise. You thought everything was just going to go seamlessly. You thought the universe was on your side. You thought all the stars had lined up. You got time off of work. You got your parents watching the grandkids while you and your wife could be on a Virgin Voyages cruise, or you and your buddies are on a bachelor cruise, whatever it is. So there's lots of things that, when you look at hurricane season, and especially with Milton and Helene and these other hurricanes, there are very serious repercussions that happen because of what's going on. And especially Tampa, right? There's a couple cruise ships that sail in and out of Tampa. And so Tampa's closed. They're talking about storm surge. They're talking about damage. What if Tampa is so messed up that cruise ships... Oh, no, wait, think about this, about Tampa. And my son and daughter-in-law live there. They've evacuated, so all good. But let's say you parked your car there in Tampa in a parking garage or somewhere that's not 6 stories high, maybe, 1 story or 2 stories, and it gets flooded. Now your car gets flooded. There's lots of bad things that can happen. And most people don't think about it. Most people think everything's going to go fine, no problems, and when stuff happens. So that's why travel insurance, trip insurance that is comprehensive is at least gives you some peace of mind if something bad happens like Hurricane Milton. All right, so let's talk about cruises in general. Hurricane season is definitely, you're rolling the dice, on what's going to happen. So this is the end of, we're in the beginning of October, end of the year is what I was trying to say. What about cruise deals? There's lots of great cruise deals out there, but I urge you, do not wait until the last minute to book your cruise. And I understand why people think that. If I wait till the last minute, I'll get a steal of a deal. Well, if you do that, you're taking a chance, because people like me and other people who cruise frequently book a year in advance. Why? Because we want cabin R127. We want cabin, 3021, because those cabins are close to the breakfast, the buffet, but they're not too far away from the elevator, or they're on a great deck. There's no loud noises from the casino. There's no loud noises from the entertainment areas like the lounge up front. You're not underneath the galley. You're not by a bow thruster. So that's why you book early to pick R1029, because that is one of the perfect cabins. But what a lot of people do to save a few pennies, I'm going to wait to the last minute and book. Well, when you do that, you risk being by a bow thruster, you risk being by an anchor, you risk being under the galley, you risk being on top of the show lounge, you risk being right next to an elevator where kids are going to come out and run down the hall. So I implore you, number one, use a travel agent like myself. Number two, book early, and don't leave it to the cruise line to pick your cabin. That's what's called a guarantee cabin. And those can be less expensive as well. Well, why? I'll tell you why they're less expensive, because then the cruise line gets to choose where to put you. Now, there are different loyalty levels, right? Like, for example, on Carnival, you have diamond, platinum, gold levels. And so when you get a guarantee cabin, I believe what they do, and there's a big secret on this, nobody knows the answer to it, but I think what happens is if you get a guarantee cabin, and now all the assigned cabins are done, now somebody at corporate or somewhere looks at the guarantee cabins and they say, okay, well, there's, Tom that's a diamond. Well, we're going to give Tom the best of those guarantees. We see Bill, who's a platinum. Okay, well, Bill is going to get this one. And then you got Tommy, who's a gold. Well, then he'll get this one. And so there's a formula to it on guaranteed cabins. And hopefully, like even with Holland America, 5-star, 4-star, 3-star Mariner. I'm a 3-star Mariner. And so if I get a guarantee cabin, I'm going to be below the 5 and 4 stars in those guarantees, the good cabins. So I do not recommend a guarantee cabin. Now, if you're a cheapskate, if you're frugal, cool, get a guarantee cabin. Oh, and the last thing I want to say is never, ever, ever accept a upgrade from a cruise line unless you know exactly the cabin number. Why? An upgrade in the eyes of a cruise line is not an upgrade in the eyes of the cruiser, because the cruise line will email you or call, hey, want a free upgrade? And well, wait a minute, where are you going to put me? 9 times out of 10, they're going to put you in an undesirable location. They may upgrade you a category, but now you're going to have an obstructed view. Now you're going to be by a bow thruster. Now you're going to be in the very first cabin at the front or the very last cabin in the back. So never trust the cruise line when they say, we want to give you an upgrade. We're offering you an upgrade. You know what? Why don't you be nice to somebody else? I'm good where I am. And especially if you're married, guys, you don't want to roll the dice. Hey, Caitlin, we're getting an upgrade. Well, if they put you under the show lounge, Caitlin's not going to be happy with you, Tommy. Scott Lara, thecruisegenius.com. Email me directly, slara1961@gmail.com. And go to gigsky.com. Check them out. They have great deals on data. You use your eSIM already built into your phone. You don't need to buy a SIM card and shove it in your phone. Gigsky.com. Email me, slara1961@gmail.com. I will give you a super secret link and promo code to get you 10% off your GigSky data plan. Scott Lara, thecruisegenius.com. Like and subscribe, and everybody stay safe out there.